I stood in front of the mirror, the glass slightly foggy from the steam of my shower. My reflection stared back at me, a blur of brown curls, pale skin, and the remnants of last night's mascara smudged under my eyes. I sighed, wishing I could wash away not just the makeup, but the weight of expectations that clung to me like a second skin. There was a time I used to enjoy mornings, but now it felt like another day in a long series where I was expected to play a part I no longer wanted to. "Come on, Ella, you have to get it together," I whispered to myself, but the words felt hollow and empty as they echoed in the tiled bathroom. It was early autumn in Maplewood, New Jersey, and the air had a crispness that hinted at the chill of winter. The leaves outside my window were a fiery mix of orange, yellow, and red, clinging tenaciously to the branches. I longed to join them, to be free from the responsibilities that chafed against my soul. Yet here I stood, waiting for yet another day filled with judgment and comparison. I turned on the faucet to wash my face, feeling the cold water splash against my skin like an awakening slap. Today was important. I had an interview for an internship at Marquee magazine, and the weight of my mother's expectations pressed heavily on my shoulders. She had been offering unsolicited advice all week, her voice like a record stuck on repeat. "You need to impress them, Ella. This is the opportunity you cannot let slip through your fingers. You need to make your father proud." With each reminder, my heart sank deeper. "Make your father proud" was a phrase I had heard so many times it was practically engraved in my mind. My father was successful and hardworking, the kind of person whose influence loomed over our family like a shadow. Instead of feeling motivated, though, it felt more like a noose tightening around my neck. I drying myself off, my skin feeling prickly with nerves as I pulled on my favorite blouse, a delicate white one that seemed to always lighten my mood. It was attractive without being overly frilly, but I still felt like a fraud wearing it. My phone buzzed from the bedside table, breaking my spiral of thoughts. I glanced at the screen, seeing a text from Lily, my best friend, just in time to stop me from slipping too far into my dark musings. "Hey girl, ready to show them what you are made of today? I believe in you, you got this. Let's grab coffee beforehand." Lily always knew how to lift my spirits, and I couldn't help but smile. A sense of warmth filled my chest as I texted back, "Yes, let's meet at Brood Awakening in 30. I grabbed my bag, the familiar frizz of nerves returning. As I stepped outside, the early morning air was surprisingly cool, making me shiver slightly as it brushed against my bare arms. I powered through it, focusing on the golden light filtering through the trees that lined our street. Maplewood's quaint charm was one of the few things that kept me grounded. The quiet rustle of leaves and chirping of birds felt like a soft murmur, reminding me to breathe, as if nature itself was coaxing me to stay calm. When I reached Brood Awakening, the scent of freshly brewed coffee instantly enveloped me, a rich, earthy aroma that made my mouth water. As I stepped inside, the cozy atmosphere wrapped around me like a warm blanket. The space was filled with mismatched chairs, a few small tables with wobbly legs, and the barista behind the counter, expertly crafting lattes with swirls of foam art. I spotted Lily in the corner, her auburn hair like flames against the muted surroundings, a wide grin lighting up her face as I approached. "There she is," she exclaimed, throwing her arms open as if she were welcoming home a long-lost traveler. "Hey," I laughed, settling into the chair opposite her. As I sank into the comfort of the seat, I felt my shoulders relax just a bit. "Thanks for meeting me, I needed a confidence boost." "Of course, what are best friends for?" Lily rolled her eyes playfully, her voice teasing. "Besides, I wouldn't miss the chance to see you knock their socks off." "I don't know about knocking socks off," I muttered, glancing down at the table as if I could hide my nervousness beneath the wood. "What if I mess up or say something stupid? I've prepared so much and still feel like I could forget everything the second I walk through the door." "Oh, shut up. We're going to walk in there, show them your fabulous self, and land that internship," she insisted, her voice steady and reassuring. "But what if they do not like me?" The concern crept back in again, tightening its grip like a vice on my mind. "What if they compare me to the other candidates and I fall short?" "That's just your anxiety talking. You can't let it win," she said, crossing her arms and leaning closer, her green eyes shimmering with determination. "What does that stupid place know anyway? You have so much to offer, you just have to believe in yourself. You are an incredible writer." Her words warmed me, wrapping around my heart like a soft scarf. "Thanks, Lily, I hope you are right." She motioned for the barista, and I watched helplessly as she ordered our usual, a caramel macchiato for herself and a simple black coffee for me. I took a moment to appreciate how effortlessly she blended into her surroundings, her outgoing nature making her almost magnetic. You know, I finally said, breaking the silence. It is not just about the internship, you know. It is everything that comes with it. My father expects so much from me. Ah, Mr. Overachiever strikes again, she said, her voice laced with both sympathy and irritation. Honestly, Ella, you have to make your own path. You are not him. You are not the daughter he dreams you to be. You are you, and that is better. I inhaled deeply, hearing her words seep into me like a gentle rain. He just wants the best for me, I clarified, but even I could hear the lack of conviction in my tone. Or maybe he wants you to fulfill his dreams. There is a difference, she replied, her expression serious, intent on driving the point home. Her words hung between us, and I felt the urge to brush them off but knew deep down she was right. I just don't want to disappoint him, I admitted, my voice softer now as fear clawed at the edges of my consciousness. You are not responsible for his happiness. Living life to meet others' expectations is a trap. You need to have your own goals, your own dream, your own path. I wished I could embrace her wisdom wholeheartedly, but my heart felt like a pendulum swinging back and forth. I wanted to believe her, but doubt lingered like a cloud over my head. It is just so hard, I mumbled, fiddling with the sleeve of my blouse. A moment of silence passed between us before she leaned back, her eyes fixed on me. You know what? I am not going to let you wallow in self-pity this morning. Once you have this internship, everything will change. Get your head in the game, girl. We are not letting some old school judge determine your worth. Okay, I will try, I said reluctantly, but I could not help smiling at her fervor. Good, now let us make a pact. Today is about you. You are going to go in there and own that room. Yes, I agreed, surprisingly invigorated by the thought. We finished our drinks, and I could feel every heartbeat echoing in my chest as we prepared to leave. The nerves returned, but for the first time, I felt a flicker of determination weaving into the knots of anxiety. Walking outside, the sun had climbed higher in the sky, casting a warm glow over everything. As we strolled toward the magazine office, I took deep breaths, each one filling my lungs with a mix of fear and excitement. If anything, I just need to be myself, I told Lily, hoping it would somehow convince us both. I have everything to prove to myself. Exactly, she beamed, nudging my side playfully. Besides, if they do not choose you, they are missing out. We finally reached the glass-fronted building that housed Marquee magazine. My heart raced even faster as I stepped inside the lobby, a sleek space with modern decor, ceilings that reached the heavens, and walls covered in framed issues of the magazine, showcasing attractive headlines and dazzling photographs. I gulped, glancing at my watch as I realized I still had a few minutes to spare. Guess this is it, I said to Lily, who stood beside me, her face a mixture of pride and concern. Get superstar, she whispered, and I wrapped her in a quick hug, needing that final bit of reassurance. I pulled open the heavy glass door, my heart pounding aggressively in my ears as I stepped into the waiting area. The receptionist glanced up at me, her smile polite but disinterested. Can I help you? She asked, tapping her fingers against the desk. I have an interview at 10 o'clock with Mr. Davis, I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. Have a seat, he will be with you shortly. I perched on the edge of a minimalist chair, grateful to have a moment to gather my thoughts. My eyes wandered over the rooms beyond the lobby, catching glimpses of people immersed in conversation, laughter echoing like distant music. I could do this. I repeated that mantra in my head until it was a rhythm syncing up with my anxious heartbeat. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again, and I retrieved it from my bag with trembling fingers. Another text from Lily, it simply read, "Just breathe." I inhaled deeply, the scent of coffee lingering in the air calming me. Little did I know, today would be just the beginning of a journey that would force me to confront the very expectations that had long shrouded me in fear. Little did I know that the weight of those expectations was about to clash violently with my desire to forge my own path. A path that would become intertwined with revenge. I stood in my tiny apartment in Maplewood, the familiar smell of my lavender-scented candles, echoing the comfort I once thought I had built around myself. The walls were covered with photographs of friends and happy memories, but none of it felt real anymore. The truth was that I could no longer escape the shadow of betrayal that loomed large over my life. My heart raced as I thought about all of it, the whisper of treachery creeping back into the forefront of my mind. It was time I faced what had been hidden from me, the painful truth that still clawed at my insides like a feral animal. Today, my best friend Anna had sent me a text, one that shook me to my core. Ella, can I see you? Please, it's urgent. My fingers trembled as I typed out a response, my heart pounding louder than the last. Sure, I replied, my pulse quickening just at the thought of seeing her again. What could she possibly want? As I sat on my worn-out sofa, the fabric rough against my fingertips, I leaned back and closed my eyes, trying to psyche myself up for whatever words she might unleash. I drew in a deep, calming breath, letting the scent of lavender envelop me, but it was not enough. Images of that night 3 months ago flashed in my mind, Anna laughing, the sound filled with an innocence that now felt tarnished. Ella, I can explain, she had said, her face twisted in anguish. I didn't want to revisit that moment, but I had to. Why would you do this to me? I had shouted, my voice almost unrecognizable, filled with raw pain and a betrayal that cut deeper than any knife. I pulled myself out of those thoughts as the doorbell rang, a sharp sound that shattered my tentative calm. My heart raced as I opened the door, and there she stood. Anna looked fragile, her brown hair unkempt and her eyes lined with dark shadows. She looked like she hadn't slept in days or maybe weeks. Ella, she whispered, and when she stepped closer, I noticed her hands trembling at her sides, the same hands that had once held my secrets with the utmost trust. What's going on? Why are you here? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, but my emotions bubbled just beneath the surface. It would be too easy to let them overwhelm me again. I'm sorry, she blurted out, her words rushing out in a torrent. Just please, can I come in? I need to talk. I hesitated but stepped aside, allowing her to enter my sanctuary that now felt more like a cage than a safe space. The door clicked shut behind her and an uncomfortable silence settled between us, thick like fog. I crossed my arms, unwilling to give an inch. You have 5 minutes. Anna looked pained, her expression revealing the same nervous energy that coursed through me. I know what I did was terrible. I know I hurt you. She paused, biting her lip as if she were gathering the right words. Seeing her vulnerable made me ache with conflicting emotions, anger, sadness, and a flicker of the old friendship we used to share. I came here today because, well, I have something to show you. What could you possibly have to show me that would make anything better? I snapped, my tone sharp and cold. I regretted it immediately as the hurt flickered across her face. Ella, please just listen to me, Anna pleaded, her voice cracking. I almost felt sorry for her, but all I could think about was the betrayal. The card I found in my mailbox 3 months ago, revealing the truth about the man I loved, the man she had sacrificed our friendship for in a moment of weakness. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. I let out an exasperated sigh, a mix of frustration and curiosity churning within me. Fine, show me then. With a deep breath, Anna pulled out her phone and I could see it quaking in her grasp. She opened an app and the screen illuminated her face with a blue light. My heart skipped a beat, a sense of dread settling in my stomach. I found this video and I think you need to see it. Her fingers swiped, and suddenly the room around us melted away, replaced by the glare of the screen showing a grainy recording. It was a night I never thought I would have to relive, a party at Ryan's house. I could see myself dancing under the colorful lights, laughter bubbling from my lips, feeling alive and free. My heart ached at the memory, so innocent, so full of joy. But then the camera shifted and I saw Ryan laughing with Anna, his tender gaze soft on her smile. The sight made something inside me twist with anger. Look closer, Anna urged, her voice adding urgency to this surreal experience. The camera zoomed in on a moment I had missed, caught in a corner of that perfect memory. I watched horrified as Ryan leaned down to whisper something in Anna's ear, his hand lingering on her shoulder longer than a friend's should. My stomach churned. What is this? I whispered, realizing the implications of what I was witnessing. Why are you showing me this? Please, she rushed, her voice breaking through the fog of my anger. You need to see who he really is, Ella. I thought he was different, but I have evidence. There's more than just this video. What else do you have, Anna? I asked, my heart pounding as curiosity wrestled with the bitterness boiling just beneath my skin. It felt wrong to want to hear her out, but there was a glimmer of hope that maybe I could find a way to heal and seek my revenge, my own twisted version of justice. After you found out about that text I sent, I started digging, Anna confessed, swallowing hard, her eyes darting away from mine. I couldn't just let you walk away without knowing the truth. I didn't want to be the person who let you get hurt again. I found out he's been lying, her voice faltered, and I recognized the fear in her eyes, the weight of what she needed to say. Lying? About what? I demanded, heat crashing over me like a wave, and I was on the edge of exploding. About everything. He has a girlfriend, was with her the entire time he was with you, Anna finally said, her voice steadying. The words hit me like arrows, sharp and true, piercing through the facade I had built around my heart. I felt a cold rush creep into my veins. How do you know all of this? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper as if I were afraid to break the silence that threatened to engulf me. Because I saw her, Ella, at the same party. She was there, hiding in plain sight. I recognized her from his photos, Anna said, her tone low and thick with emotion, almost sounding like she was sharing a dark secret. I didn't want you to have to go through this again. I couldn't bear it. I stared at her, feeling the walls of my world shift and crumble around me. Why didn't you just tell me right away? I asked, pain lacing my words. Why wait until now? I thought I could protect you from it. But I was only fooling myself, fooling you, she whispered apologetically, tears welling in her eyes. I know I shouldn't have kept it a secret. I'm so sorry. I just didn't want you to hurt more. I could see the remorse etched in her face, genuine and deep, yet the betrayal still knotted in my stomach like a tight fist. Do you realize how messed up that is? You kept all of this from me because you were trying to protect me. My voice rose again, a tempest of emotion. It wasn't just my choice. I was afraid of what you might do when you found out. Her fingers grasped the edge of the counter like she was steadying herself against an invisible storm. What I might do. I was betrayed by both of you. How could you do this to me? I raged, my anger boiling over. Did you think about how I felt when I found that stupid card? The lies, Anna, didn't you think about that when you were with him? I know I messed up. I'm not asking for your forgiveness right now, Ella. I just want you to know the truth. I want to make it right. So what is this making it right? Showing me painful memories? I shot back, my voice rising in frustration. I thought you were my best friend. I thought we could trust each other. We can still trust each other. I don't want to lose you. Anna begged, tears spilling down her cheeks like bitter rain. I collapsed onto the edge of the sofa, feeling utterly defeated. Then how do I move on, Anna? How do I ever trust you again? You start by telling me how you're planning to get your revenge. Her voice was suddenly sharp, and I raised an eyebrow, shocked by her boldness. Revenge? I echoed, the word feeling foreign on my tongue. Yes, Ella. I know what happened hurt you deeply, but don't you want to show them they can't just walk all over you? You deserve justice. My pulse quickened at the idea, igniting something that had smoldered inside me for far too long. I had remained passive, nursing my wounds instead of launching an offensive. Anna's suggestion was as intoxicating as the aroma of my lavender candles, bringing a warmth and clarity I didn't know I craved. Revenge isn't who I am, I said automatically, but the thought danced around in my head, gaining traction. Maybe it's time to let that girl inside you out, she encouraged. Just think about it. We can come up with a plan together, and if you need my resources, I can help you. I don't know, I trailed off, my mind racing. The very thought of vengeance compelled me. I could make Ryan pay, corner him with his own lies. What are you suggesting, Anna? What do you think I should do? Start small. Get into his head, play with his emotions just like he did to you, she said, an eerie excitement creeping into her voice. You know his weaknesses, after all. Use that to your advantage. I mulled over her words, feeling my heart pound louder at the thought of taking control again, leaning into something darker. Maybe that was the answer, a way to reclaim my story. My hands trembled as I gripped my phone on my lap, steadying myself as the weight of ambition settled over me. I can't just confront him, I eventually replied, uncertainty flaring up inside me. I need to be smart about this. Anna nodded eagerly, her eyes shining with determination. Then let me help you figure it out. Together, we can make him regret every moment he wasted on deception. I looked around my small apartment, the laughter and happiness that used to fill it now replaced by the shadows of betrayal. But in that moment, a flicker of hope ignited within me. I might just find the light again, not through forgiveness, but through my own brand of justice. All right, I said, my voice steady as I embraced the surge of revenge bubbling up in my chest. Let's do it. The room felt charged, as if an electric current coursed through the air. My heart raced as we began plotting our plan, the thrill of vengeance intertwining with the bitter remnants of betrayal. And as I glanced at Anna, I realized this twisted alliance might be our only way forward. With new resolve, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. The first wave of healing in a long time. I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, the fluorescent lights giving off a harsh glare that seemed to unveil every imperfection on my face. My brown hair was tousled and frizzy after a restless night, and my green eyes looked more like murky pools than the vibrant orbs they usually were. I blinked quickly, fighting the tears that threatened to spill over as I recalled the events of yesterday, the day my life took a nosedive into an abyss I was not sure how to navigate. Beside the sink, the glimmering blade of an old box cutter caught my eye. My heart raced as I picked it up, running my fingers along its sleek surface. Just the sight of it sent a shiver coursing through me, awakening a feeling I both dreaded and craved. As I turned the cutter over in my hands, images of Tyler danced in my mind, his mocking smile and those glinting, arrogant eyes. That smile, the one he wore while shoving another hurtful comment my way, played like a taunt in my head. It infuriated me. It was as if I could still hear him laughing, echoing around my empty apartment. Every fiber of my being screamed for revenge, for justice, not just for me, but for anyone he had ever wronged. The thought settled in my mind, growing and twisting like a vine. I will not be a victim, I whispered, my voice trembling with a mix of determination and fear. My heartbeat matched the flicker of anger coursing through me. I will not let him win. I clenched my fist around the box cutter, its weight feeling steadier in my grip with each passing moment. It was a sharp reminder of how close I was to tearing down the wall of denial that had once shielded me from the truth of who I had become. Ty had made me doubt my worth, made me feel small, yet now I felt stronger. Looking down at my reflection, I pushed my shoulders back and straightened my spine. You're more than what he did to you, I told myself, the words echoing in the solitary space of my mind. You are more than this pain. The resolve awakened something dormant inside me. I had spent too long living in the shadows of my own insecurities, allowing Ty and his crew to dictate my happiness. I couldn't let that happen anymore. I had a plan, one that would send shockwaves through the pristine facade Tyler had built around himself. While he strutted around like some king, oblivious to the crumbling foundations of his life, I would operate from the dark, sowing the seeds of his downfall. Slowly, I set down the box cutter and grabbed my phone, a tingle of excitement electrifying my fingertips as I opened my contacts and scrolled to Olivia's name. With a short message, I summoned her help. We need to talk. Something big. I pressed send and felt a rush of adrenaline at the thought of what was to come. Minutes felt like hours as I waited, pacing in front of the mirror, my mind racing with ideas. Olivia had been my closest friend since childhood. She was witty, bold, and always had my back, even when I failed to have my own. A knock on my door pulled me from my thoughts, causing a flutter of anticipation to build in my chest. Ella, open up. Olivia's voice was bright, urging me to hurry as I rushed to the door. I pulled it open, and her vibrant energy was like a burst of sunshine in my dim apartment. She stepped in, her curly hair bouncing and her eyes sparkling with curiosity. You wanted to see me? You look intense, she said, glancing at me sideways, a hint of amusement touching her lips. I couldn't help but smile back at her. You know me, always dramatic. I gestured toward the couch, where I had piled some cushions to create a cozy atmosphere. But really, I need to talk about something serious. Olivia settled beside me, her posture shifting from lightheartedness to focus as she sensed the change in my demeanor. What's going on? I took a deep breath, my heart pounding as I prepared to unveil the truth. It's about Tyler, about everything that happened yesterday, I began. The humiliation, the way he treated me, I trailed off, feeling the weight of my emotions almost knocking the air from my lungs. He doesn't get to have that kind of power over you, Ella, Olivia said firmly, her gaze steady, urging me to continue. What did he do? I hesitated, remembering the insults, the laughter of his friends, how small and invisible I had felt in that moment. At the bar, he made another joke at my expense, I said quietly, my voice barely above a whisper. And everyone laughed. It was like I was nothing, like all those years meant nothing. Tears threatened to spill, but I held them back, standing resolute in the face of my friend. I can't let him walk away thinking it's okay to treat me like that. I want to make him feel what I felt, to see what it's like to lose control over someone. Olivia's expression shifted from concern to fierce determination. Okay, I'm listening. What do you have in mind? A grin slowly crept onto my face as I felt a glimmer of excitement surge through me. I've got a plan, and you are the perfect person to help me pull it off. But we need to outsmart him, make sure it's clever enough that he doesn't see it coming. Olivia nodded, her eagerness matching my own. Tell me everything, she urged, leaning forward. So, I have this idea, I started, my voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. I've been doing some digging into his life, social media, friends, the people he interacts with. I want to make him question his own connections, to see how vulnerable he really is. Olivia's eyes widened, the thrill of the plot igniting a fire within her. You can't be serious, you're going to expose him. Not exactly. I'm going to use his arrogance against him, I explained, a wicked smile spreading across my face. What if we create a fake profile, someone who doesn't know he is a total jerk? I will use it to get under his skin, undermine his confidence. We can draw him into a trap that makes him look foolish. Olivia burst into laughter, her joy infectious. That is brilliant, he won't know what hit him. My heart swelled with the anticipation of what lay ahead. We can gather intel, see how he interacts behind closed doors. It's time he faced the shadows he has cast onto others. The thought fueled the fire of my revenge. I could almost taste the sweet victory that awaited me. All those times he had fun at my expense. Well, it's time we flipped the game. He won't even know it's us. The adrenaline was electric, coursing through my veins as we brainstormed the details of our plan. Every sentence we exchanged fueled the growing fire of determination within me. Each brought us closer to making Tyler see the darker parts of his nature reflected back at him. My laughter mingled with Olivia's as we crafted a complex web of deception, the very thing Tyler thrived on, now turning against him like a puppet tangled in its own strings. The hours slipped away unnoticed as the brilliant glow of the evening sun filtered through the windows, casting long shadows in our shared laughter. It was exhilarating, healing in a way I never expected. You know, Olivia said thoughtfully, this might be just what you need to reclaim your power. I smiled, feeling the warmth of her support. I hope so. It is just one step, but it's a step toward feeling like myself again. The taste of revenge was bittersweet, but it was also a promise to take back the control I had lost and a commitment to finally stand up to the man who had tried to break me. As I looked into Olivia's eyes, bright with mischief and camaraderie, my heart swelled with gratitude. We were in this together, and with each passing moment, I felt stronger. Together, we would reveal the truth hidden behind Tyler's raucous laughter, and I would no longer be a shadow flitting in the background of my own life. Soon enough, he would learn the repercussions of his actions, and as I envisioned the moment of reckoning, the corners of my mouth curled into a renewed smile, the weight of despair lifting from my heart. We would make sure he felt every ounce of the chaos he had sown, and in that moment, I finally felt alive. Ella Carter was not a victim. She was a force to be reckoned with. The moon hung low in the night sky, casting a silvery sheen over the town of Maplewood. I could hear the faint rustle of leaves as they danced in the gentle breeze, whispering secrets of their own. What a stark contrast to the storm swirling inside me. My pulse raced as I stood on the edge of Nathan's property. Every shadow felt alive, every creak in the distance echoed my anxious thoughts. This was it. This was the moment I had been waiting for, the moment I would finally take a stand. The crisp air filled my lungs, and I felt the weight of what I was about to do settle like lead in my stomach. You can do this, Ella, I whispered to myself, tightening my grip around the small device in my pocket. You've come too far to turn back now. The thrill of revenge coursed through my veins, warming my skin as the cold night air washed over me in waves. The deep breath, I crept towards the side of the house, staying low to the ground to avoid detection. Nathan had always been reckless, leaving doors unlocked and vulnerability exposed. I had waited for this moment for a long time, and I was determined to make it count. Memories surged through my mind like a tide, the way he had smirked when he humiliated me in front of everyone, the laughter of our classmates ringing in my ears, his careless disregard for my feelings. Tonight, that would all come to an end. I approached the back door, my heart hammering in my chest. I surveyed the dimly lit interior through the window, hoping to catch a glimpse of him. The space was empty, silent except for the low hum of the refrigerator inside. Taking one last look around, I pushed the door and it fortunately creaked open. The smell of wood and aged furniture hit me immediately, a sharp contrast to the fresh night air. I stepped inside, feeling the threshold of his space, my resolve hardening. For a brief moment, I felt the weight of what I had endured, years of bullying, scorn, and betrayal creeping back to the surface like a dark wave threatening to pull me under. I flicked on my flashlight, illuminating the narrow hallway decorated with pictures of family vacations and Nathan's smiling face. Why do you have to look so perfect? I muttered under my breath, bitterness lacing my words as I passed by. My memories turned sharper with every step I took, igniting the spark of fury within me. Suddenly, the sound of muffled voices drifted from the living room. My heart quickened. Are you serious? A female voice exclaimed, sharp and full of disbelief. You can't just let her get away with what she did. I pressed my back against the wall, my breath catching. I strained to listen, curiosity gnawing at me. It's not like I want to hurt her, Nathan replied, his tone laced with a casual indifference that sent a surge of anger through me. But she asked for it. You didn't see the things she did. I clenched my fists, nails digging into my palms, tasting the bitterness of bile rising in my throat. Did she really? Said the girl, a mix of disbelief and sympathy in her voice. I mean, all she did was stand up to you. You can't honestly think that makes her an enemy. At her words, a flicker of hope ignited within me, dulling the pain of betrayal from earlier. Stand up to me, Nathan scoffed. That's all it was to you. She thought she could just walk away from everything I've done for her. She's a joke. My stomach churned and I almost stepped into full view, but I paused, taking a moment to gather my thoughts. Who was this girl? Did she really believe in me? No one deserves to be treated that way. You know that, right? She pressed, and I could almost see the sharpness of her gaze cutting through Nathan's facade. You got to make this right, it's not too late. A chuckle from Nathan made the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. How do you plan on making it right? You really think I'm afraid of her? She's weak. Look at her, she gave up. More importantly, she's forgotten her place. My heart sank as fear and anger intertwined, but rage ignited within me, transforming fear into something powerful. Forgotten her place? I whispered to no one but the air. Says the guy who's too afraid to own up to his mistakes. Taking a deep breath, I leaned against the wall, my mind racing. I had to reveal Nathan for who he truly was. Weakness isn't letting go, I whispered fiercely. Weakness is hiding behind a mask of bravado. With a new sense of purpose, I edged closer to the doorway, cracking it ever so slightly to get a glimpse inside the living room. I saw Nathan slouching in the high-backed armchair, one leg draped casually over the side. His shirt was untucked, showing his defiant spirit as he leaned back, chuckling under his breath, the arrogance practically radiating from him. That girl stood just a few feet away from him, her hands on her hips, fiery determination etched across her brow. It was a picture of a boy owning his power irresponsibly while a girl stood her ground against it. My heart pounded louder, each thump echoing in my chest as I contemplated the next step. I had spent too long feeling powerless, but this was power. It's time for you to feel afraid, Nathan, I uttered under my breath, my resolve hardening again. I straightened up, letting the emotion wash over me. Then, without thinking too much, I burst through the door with ferocity I did not know I possessed. You think I am weak? I shouted, the force of my voice slicing through the air, shocking both of them into silence. Nathan's expression morphed from smug confidence to startled disbelief. The girl turned wide-eyed, sensing the storm brewing in me. No more hiding in the dark, I declared, my voice steady as I entered the room fully, flashlight aimed at Nathan like a beacon. Ella, Nathan managed to stammer, the surprise in his eyes quickly replaced by a mask of anger. What the hell are you doing here? I'm here to settle a score, Nathan, I said firmly, each word infused with purpose. To show you exactly what strength looks like. Strength. You don't even know what you're talking about, he spat, but I found satisfaction in watching the bravado slip ever so slightly. How funny to hear that from someone who tries to tear down those he considers weaker. I stepped closer, the anger fueling me, a fireball rolling powerfully in my belly. You thought you could crush me, didn't you? The girl finally found her voice. Ella, wait, she said, her tone a mixture of caution and encouragement, and I turned to her, meeting her gaze. I can't let him get away with it, I said, frustration hitting my voice. I know, she replied, her eyes reflecting understanding. But what if there's more to this? What if Nathan is just hiding behind his own insecurities? Are you willing to fight him or the boy he pretends to be? I paused, her words unraveling some of the anger. Would my revenge only serve to further his mask? Did Nathan represent the boy who had felt immense pressure to conform, hidden behind layers of tough guy bravado? Did my actions now determine that? I was taken aback by doubt creeping in, but the taunts and bullying still lived too vividly in my memory to back down. I refocused my attention on Nathan, whose face had fallen into a sneer, anger flashing in his dark eyes. You think you're brave coming here, but you've got it all wrong, Ella. He sneered, inflation masking the uncertainty beneath. You've already lost. Just look at you, misguided. No strength. Maybe you're right, I almost whispered, my voice trembling with vulnerability. Maybe I lost before, but now I have something to fight for. Yourself, that doesn't matter. All your posturing, it will never gauge your worth, he snapped. I swallowed my hurt. No, Nathan, it isn't just for me. It's for everyone you've ever tried to hurt, for everyone you've made to feel worthless. You'll be the last person to take that power from me. He laughed coldly, the sound slicing through me like glass, but as I took a moment to regain my footing, I felt the energy shift. The girl beside me was looking at me with renewed fervor, admiration lighting her features. Behind Nathan, an aura of doubt clung to the edges of his bravado. You're just a girl playing dress-up, Ella. You think because you stand here you're powerful, you think you can take me down. I don't think, I replied coolly, trying to mask the erratic rhythm of my heart. I know exactly what you are. All bullies are the same, you sway around trying to make everyone feel small. What you don't realize is that you're trapped in your own prison of lies, and I've come to break you free. Break me free? That sounds almost poetic, he sneered. It's true, the girl chimed in, her voice fervent as she stepped forward, standing proudly beside me. Your arrogance blinds you. You are weaker than you think, Nathan. You see, Ella has taken back her power. You've forgotten that it comes from within, and you resort to cruelty because you're terrified of what you are. His laughter faded, eyes narrowing as he took in my resolve and the girl standing steadfastly by my side. You think you two are a threat, you're just proving my point. But I wouldn't let his words stifle me. It ends tonight, Nathan. You will no longer weave your web of control over me. No more hurting others just to supply your own false sense of power. The air grew heavy with tension as Nathan scanned our faces. I could see the gears turning in his mind, evaluating the shift in our dynamic. Perhaps he had never expected me to come back, fiery, ready, and demanding my worth. You think this is over, he spat, voice laced with malice. You have no idea who you are messing with. I stepped closer, adrenaline pumping with a surge of newfound strength. No, Nathan, I have never felt more certain about who I am. And unlike you, I am not afraid to be vulnerable. I'm done hiding, and I'm ready to break free from the chains you forged. Nathan's bravado faltered, his facade trembling, revealing a glimpse of the boy beneath, the boy who felt just as trapped but without the will to change. Ella, the girl beside me said softly, her encouragement washing over me like a wave. It's your moment. Show him what real strength looks like, not just bold words. Taking a deep breath, I turned back to Nathan, my voice steady as a rock. Tonight, no more threats. No more chasing others down for your validation. You will leave me alone, and I hope someday you find the truth, and I mean a long, hard look in the mirror. Silence enveloped the room, a space tethered between confrontation and a revelation of choices. Nathan opened his mouth to speak, but no words emerged. Perhaps he sensed the shift, the power was no longer his. In this moment, I felt more alive than I had in years. Despite the tension crackling in the air, a sense of freedom washed over me. I'm breaking free from the chains you've used to hold me back. With that determined statement hanging heavily in the air, I turned and walked out of his life, leaving Nathan to grapple with his demons and the path he had forged. Behind me, I sensed the change, the recognition that for the first time, I was no longer defined by him or his cruelty. As I stepped outside, the cool air kissed my cheeks once more, a soothing balm bringing clarity and triumph. I could hear the sounds of the night, the rustling of leaves, the distant chirping of crickets, and in the back of my mind, the echoes of newfound determination. The world opened up in front of me, filling me with the realization that freedom wasn't just a concept, it was a choice. A choice I had just made, and I would never take for granted again. The early morning light filtered through the sheer curtains of my studio apartment, casting pale patterns on the hardwood floor. I blinked awake, the events of the past few weeks swirling in my mind like a storm I could not escape. The dawn felt different today. There was a heaviness in the air that made my heart race. Today was the day I was finally going to confront Adam. I swung my legs over the side of the bed, the chill of the wood grounding me. I could not believe how quickly things had unraveled since the day I had learned the truth about him. The betrayal had felt like a knife twisting in my gut, relentless and unyielding, but ever since I had found my resolve, that knife had transformed into a sword, and I was ready for battle. I stood up and made my way to the kitchen, the smell of freshly brewed coffee wafting through the air. I needed the strength. As I poured myself a cup, my hands trembled slightly, not from fear but from adrenaline thrumming through my veins. I leaned against the counter, staring into the steaming mug, letting the warmth seep into my palms, imagining it absorbing all the rage and hurt. I took a deep breath and let it out slowly, steadying myself. Today was about more than just revenge. It was about reclaiming my life, my voice, and my strength. My phone buzzed on the table, jolting me from my thoughts. It was a text from Mia, my closest friend and confidant throughout all of this. Are you ready? You need to let this go, Ella. You deserve peace. I could almost hear her voice in my head, gentle yet firm. I sighed, my fingers hovering over the screen as I typed back, I know, but I need to do this. He won't get away with it. I hit send and took another sip of my coffee, feeling a sense of calm wash over me, albeit briefly. After a quick shower, I dressed in dark jeans and a fitted black blouse, the color reflecting my mood. I applied light makeup, but I chose a deep red lip color, bold and unapologetic. Looking in the mirror, I hardly recognized the woman staring back at me. The Ella who had cowered in the shadow of Adam's lies was gone. The reflection I saw now was fierce, ready to reclaim the pieces of myself that he had almost shattered. Stepping out the door, I felt a wave of cool air greet me, mingled with the faint scent of fall leaves crumbling beneath my feet. As I walked to my car, the crunch of dried leaves reminded me that change is a constant, a cycle of death and rebirth that I was determined to embrace. The car ride to Adam's office felt torturous, each second stretching out as I rehearsed what I would say. In my mind, raging arguments unfolded like pages from an unwritten novel, each scenario more satisfying than the last. Arriving at the office building, I hesitated for a moment. The structure loomed high above me, glass and steel glinting in the sunlight. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. This was it. I swallowed hard, forcing the confidence I had mustered to rise to the surface. I stepped inside, the modern decor of the lobby intimidating. My heels clicked on the polished floor as I approached the receptionist. "I would like to see Adam Davis, please," I said, trying to mask any tremor in my voice. The receptionist looked at me quizzically and typed something into her computer. "Do you have an appointment?" she asked, her tone professional yet indifferent. I felt a flicker of frustration. "No, but it is urgent. He needs to see me." I could sense the weight of my words, the gravity of the moment building. The receptionist narrowed her eyes slightly, clearly not convinced. "I am sorry, but Mr. Davis is very busy today. Perhaps you could schedule something for later." I took a deep breath, knowing this was my moment to push through. "You don't understand. It is about a business deal we were involved in his betrayal. It must be addressed immediately." The moment I said those words, the room stood still, and the receptionist's expression shifted from indifference to curiosity. She hesitated, biting her lip as if weighing my words. "One moment, please." She picked up the phone and dialed. My heart raced as the minutes felt like hours. The receptionist nodded as she spoke quietly into the receiver. "I see. He is expecting you. You may go upstairs, third floor." Conference room B. I felt a rush of triumph and fear, adrenaline coursing through me as I thanked her and marched toward the elevator. The doors slid shut, enclosing me in a small space as the numbers lit up in sequence. I recalled the day I had confronted him about the lies, how he had smirked, dismissing my fears as baseless. This time, it would be different. The door chimed on the third floor, and I could feel my heart pounding in my ears. I stepped out and approached conference room B, my fingers trembling slightly as I reached for the handle. Taking a deep breath, I pushed the door open. Adam was sitting at the table, his back to me, flipping through some documents, likely unaware of the storm about to hit him. The moment he heard the door open, he turned, and the surprise written on his face was like music to my ears. "Ella, what are you doing here?" He stammered, his voice suddenly lacking its usual confidence. I held my ground, crossing my arms tightly over my chest. "We need to talk." I spoke with a calmness that surprised even me. I stepped into the room, letting the door close softly behind me. The atmosphere immediately shifted, the tension palpable. He straightened up, his eyes narrowing as he processed my presence. "I have nothing to say to you." "No, Adam, you do," I replied, taking a step closer. I could see him struggling to maintain his facade, trying to exude control, but the crack in his armor gave me strength. His face flickered with something I could not quite discern, a mix of annoyance and fear, perhaps. "Do you have any idea what you've done to me?" I pressed, remembering how he had manipulated those around me, ensuring I felt isolated and alone. His brow furrowed, and for a moment I thought I saw a hint of regret in his eyes. "I thought we were over that, Ella. What more do you want?" His tone was dismissive, yet beneath it, I could sense an underlying tension. "I want you to know I am not a victim anymore," I replied, my voice steady but filled with the passion that had been building inside me. "You thought you could walk away from this unscathed, leaving behind nothing but wreckage." He attempted to stand tall, but I could see his bravado waning. "You are being dramatic." His dismissive remark only fueled my resolve. "Dramatic? No, I am being honest." You shadowed my life with lies and deceit while I poured my heart into our relationship. I considered you my partner, my confidant, and you took advantage of that trust. I paused, breathing deeply to suppress the emotions that threatened to surface. "But you know what? You cannot take my spirit away from me. You cannot strip away my strength." He shifted uncomfortably in his seat, the silence stretching between us. "You don't know what you are talking about," he said, but there was less confidence in his voice now. I was doing what I had to do for my career. Hearing his excuse ignited an ember of rage within me. "Your career? You destroyed everything we built for your own selfish gain. Do you have any idea what it felt like to discover you betrayed me with the very people I trusted? The lies you told to keep me in the dark were just as damaging as your actions." I felt like I was losing a part of myself every single day. His expression changed as I continued, each word spilling out with fervor. "You played with my heart like it was a game, Adam, but I am done playing the victim. I came here to tell you that I have found my voice again, and I will not let you or anyone else suppress it. I will ensure that the truth about you and your business practices comes to light. You think you can just walk away, but I will not let you hide behind your lies anymore." There was something undeniably powerful about speaking my truth, watching as Adam's composure slipped further. "Ella, you don't have to do this," he finally said, but it fell flat against the charged air. "I do," I replied fiercely. "You wanted this fight and now you have it. I plan to expose you, your deceit, your manipulation. People deserve to know who you are." He stood up, desperation filling his eyes as he took a step towards me. Do not threaten me. You cannot just ruin everything I have worked for. His voice rose, breaking slightly under the weight of his own panic. I could see the chaos painting his normally calm demeanor. It was as if I was peeling away layer after layer of his confidence, revealing the scared little boy underneath. The man who had wielded power over me now looked vulnerable, cornered. That is exactly what I intend to do, I said, holding my ground. The facade you have built around yourself will crumble, and I will help bring it down. You have no idea how much I have learned since you pushed me away. I have the evidence I need, and I am not afraid to use it. His expression shifted from anger to pleading, a glimpse of remorse flashing through his eyes. I made mistakes, Ella. I thought I was doing what needed to be done, he said, his voice softer, more human. Why are you doing this? Can't we just move on? The sincerity in his tone took me by surprise, but I quickly hardened my heart. I would not let myself fall for his manipulation again. Move on. You believed you could just erase the hurt you caused me. No, Adam, I will not carry your burdens any longer. You need to face the consequences of your actions. He sighed heavily, a mix of resignation and regret saturating the air. You will ruin everything, Ella. You will regret this. I shrugged, feeling more liberated than ever. Regret? I have spent too long regretting giving my heart to someone like you. This is not about you anymore. It is about reclaiming my life. You have made your choices, and now you must deal with them. I am ready for whatever comes next. We stared at each other in silence, each waiting for the other to break first. It was an unspoken battle, the power shifting from him to me with every word. I could see the defenses around him crumble, and a troubling realization dawned on me. Beneath his bravado and arrogance lay a terrified man who had built his empire on shaky foundations. Finally, he looked away, breaking the spell. Fine, he said quietly, a defeated tone creeping into his voice. You want to play this game, then go ahead. Just remember, it will not end well for you either. I laughed, a sound filled with the kind of strength I had been searching for. You don't scare me anymore, Adam. Your power over my life is gone. I will emerge from this battle, stronger than you could ever imagine. I turned to leave, a weight lifting from my shoulders with every step away from him. As I walked out of that office for the last time, the smell of fresh paper and the muted tones of the voice behind me faded into the background. I felt reborn, ready to embrace whatever came next. The air outside was crisp, and the sunlight felt warm against my skin, a reminder that I was alive again, fully and unapologetically. I would take my story to the people who mattered and let the truth unfold as it should. And with that, I stepped into my new chapter, prepared to face the future on my own terms, ready to find the strength in liberation.